Good evening. You're watching the Diamond News Desk at 8. My name is Tapiwa Ngoma. Let's have a look at stories that are making business headlines this evening. Zambia's economy stabilizes, but risks remain. Our second story, farmers are exploited due to absence of well-structured marketing system, SAFADA. We also have the Kwacha's performance on the international market as businesses did come to a close earlier today, and we'll close it all off with what we'll look at in terms of the commodity prices. Do stay tuned for this and more. Pleasant good evening once again. Let's dive into the business news details with our first story. Zambia's economy is showing early signs of recovery in the first quarter of 2026, but experts warn that the gains remain fragile and are yet to fully benefit households. Economic growth is estimated at just above 5%, driven by mining expansion, improved electricity supply, and steady performance in the services sector. Inflation has also eased, dropping from 9.4% in January to around 7.1% in March, moving closer to the target range. Economic analyst Kelvin Chisanga says the Kwacha has shown relative stability, appreciating slightly in the back of improved foreign exchange inflows. Mr. Chisanga says despite his progress, the cost of living remains high, particularly for food, while lending rates above 20% continue to limit business growth. Economist Kampamba Shula says there is cautious optimism, with inflation expected to ease further as food supply improves following a favorable harvest. But rising global oil prices and exchange rate risks could push prices upwards.
Zambia's economy in the first quarter of 2026 has recorded positive growth, signaling a gradual recovery, although underlying pressures remain. Economic activity is estimated to have expanded by between 5.0 and 5.2%, supported by increased mining output, improved electricity supply, and resilience in the services sector. This growth comes alongside easing inflation, which declined from 9.4% in January to about 7.1% in March, moving closer to the 6 to 8% target range. Economist Kampamba Shula says the slowdown in inflation is largely driven by improved food supply following a favorable harvest, with households expected to begin experiencing relief through reduced prices of essential commodities. However, he warns that external pressures, particularly rising global oil prices and exchange rate movements, still pose risks to sustained stability.
Zambia is beginning to see some relief from inflation, mainly driven by lower food prices as the harvest improves supply. That's where households are likely to feel the first easing in the cost of living. However, global pressures are still significant. Higher oil prices driven by geopolitical tensions are pushing fuel prices higher.
Meanwhile, economic analyst Kelvin Chisanga notes that the Kwacha has shown relative stability, appreciating by an estimated 3 to 5%, supported by improved foreign exchange inflows.
The balance of stability in most of the aspects are seen to be culling with that positive and conscious optimism, showing that the market condition and environment is showing some bit of stability, meaning even when you look at the key framework around all key matters of policy, government affairs and function are all holding up from there. Even when you look at the private sector participation, I think it's also showing some positive elements of growth sustaining from there. Though in the second quarter, we are likely to see a number of few challenging factors that can help to be able to detour the positive environment that has actually been portrayed so far.
Poultry farmer Elvis Chibuye says the prices of key inputs such as feed and charcoal are still high, making it difficult to reduce production costs despite improvements in the exchange rate.
The Kwacha is doing well at the market, but for the prices of feed is still high, is still not doing well, because the charcoal, again, I normally use charcoal because electricity is still high. Even if they are reduced the prices, but the units which we get when we buy, they are not doing well. Then again, the prices of feed is still higher, but the prices of chicken are still the same. So the Kwacha can do well, but the business is still the same. My appeal to the government or stakeholders which do with maybe the prices of feed, the prices of maybe electricity. They can sit down with them, try to negotiate with them. Maybe they can reduce the cost of feed as the poultry farmers, including these people like those where we buy medicines.
Overall, while Zambia's economic outlook for the first quarter remains positive, experts say sustained progress will depend on maintaining fiscal discipline, managing external shocks, and ensuring that macroeconomic gains translate into tangible relief for households. Rachel Mumba.